Maybe turn down on here. Okay.
You working?
Should
You sure?
check in her eyes.
No. Hey, elevator music, all right. Public council work session to order Wednesday, June 21st. Time is 2 p.m. and we're gonna go ahead and start off with the introductions of new officers, so. Come on. Yes.
Thank you, Mayor Scholl. Good afternoon, everyone. We have two new hires that we want to introduce to everyone, but particularly the council. And there's going to be a quick badge painting as well. So these two new officers started a few weeks ago and they're slated to go to the academy in October. So we're finding some busy work and some in-house training for them. The academy will be 16 weeks after that. Hopefully we're waiting that they can go a little bit sooner. Sometimes that happens, but I think my guess is it'll be in October sometime. So anyway, first one is Jonathan Sprinsel. Hello.
Mark Anderson, thank you.
Sprinsel?
His wife Sarah is going to come up and pin his badge.
I am.
Okay. Let's thank him, Sarah.
I promise. Welcome.
And next we have John Anderson.
Mark Anderson.
You again.
And his wife Joni is going to pin his badge.
Well, welcome to the team. We got a really good police force here, very professional, best in Columbia County, in my opinion, so. Welcome, and anybody else?
Hey, we're very happy to have you guys here. We love our police in St. Helens, so welcome aboard.
Yep. Welcome to our community. You guys live around here?
Live in Columbia City.
Okay. Hopefully we can get you out of the state. Again, welcome. Yep. All right.
Thanks, council. We'll get back to work.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, chief. Keep up your work. Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thanks always.
Yes.
I know you want.
Okay, it is now time for visitor comments. Visitor comment is a period of essential part of government meetings. Each person has 3 minutes to speak. The city council will take all input into consideration. However, in observance of Oregon open meeting laws, this isn't a time for dialogue, but rather a time for us to listen to you. Our city administrators are taking notes of action if needed. Thank you for your participation in visitor comments. We'd like to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Steve Toski, citizen of St. Helens. I just showed up today because I heard that the ECC was going to be doing a report on the tourism program, and I want to just make some brief comments about our very successful tourism program. And I want to congratulate the council again for its contract with E2C and the way that the city has structured its tourism program. We all go to bed at night, and we wake up and we have these wonderful 13 nights on the river where the community gets together. It's one of the most heartwarming events that my heart melts every time I go to see all those kids. We're gonna have the 4th of July, the sandcastle competition, and the Christmas ships. And we all go to bed at night and we all wake up and these magic events occur smoothly, seamlessly, professionally done. And I can say as a citizen, I've personally witnessed the hard work that Tina Curry and her husband, Chris Kennard, do to make these events happen. There's a lot of things that come in the background. And I just wanted to let you know, as a citizen, I appreciate the council's decision to go with a extremely capable vendor who is giving us a lot of bang for the buck. And I know that it's very difficult in this town to make everyone happy all the time. And there are a lot of, as Mayor Scholl said during one of last year's meetings, and that is, there's a lot of weekends and a lot of events that, and room for more. If people want to put on events, if they want to make things happen here, there's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights throughout the year that are available. And I think that there's still, of course, some bridges to mend, but I think as far as objective work and performance, I'm very pleased as a citizen, and I thank you all for developing this program and working through it. And I encourage you to continue with it as long as they're doing such a great job. Thank you.
Pete Topaz. I have 3 things to talk about today. 2 Thursdays ago, the DEQ had a Zoom meeting on the Pope and Calvert property. 50 people were notified by email. The crew from DEQ and 3 people attended. None of the city or council personnel attended, or did the county. The main point of the property was to seal off the water by a barrier that would go from the surface to bedrock. After the concentrated contaminants were removed, price tag $25 million. This property is 3,000 feet long. The white paper mill is 5,000 feet long. DEQ dictated that covering sand and charcoal for the white papers separation method for the water, and it will only be 4 foot deep. This order could be changed if the proposed system does not work, and it has to be continuously maintained because sand and charcoal will move. I expect the separation method for the white paper plant will change. 2, police officer position is not filled because of finances, just need money. This position was approved by the council and the council's orders were not followed. This position is a position that could be removed, and the monies from this position could be used for the approval of the police position. This position was not approved by the council. No interviews were done to fill the position, so it should be eliminated. The position is that of government affairs. The person holding this position is in charge of facilitating the unapproved cooling lagoon to waste dump project. I have been asked, this is number 3, I've been asked why I keep speaking before the council, but they do not listen, ask questions, or react in any meaningful way. And the record keeping as held in the minutes missed many important details. The answer is I know that they do not listen is obvious by looks on their face. I am talking to people, businesses, developers, and legally interested people outside St. Helens. Our record of not giving complete information on projects which have caused some businesses to go bankrupt is well known. I am trying to warn these entities to be careful when doing business with the city of St. Helens. Our operational past with many outside businesses is still remembered outside the city. Thank you.
Any other visitor comments? we have any on Zoom, Kathy? Okay, we're gonna go to our first item, which is the length of recognition for our building official, Mike DeRoya. For 5 years, Michael's out working away right now. He's the only person on staff today, so couldn't be here, but I know that Susie Dahl showed up, hoping that he would be here and has some things to say, so
Good afternoon.
good afternoon.
For the record, my name is Susie Dahl. I'm with Columbia County Land Development Services. I wanted to provide you all with a small introduction of who I am and why I'm here today. Until last year, I was a Columbia County building official. I have been promoted to Director of Land Development Services, which oversees building, planning, and on-site sewage for the county. Columbia County and the city of St. Helens has had a long-standing reciprocal intergovernmental agreement to provide building plan review and inspection services. This IGA works extremely well for both agencies to provide continuity of operations and assistance when either jurisdiction is short-staffed or has a high volume of work. This brings me to why I'm here. Over the past 5 years, I have personally worked with Mike DeRoya. He has a sincere dedication to service with compassion and community well-being. When Mike was hired as building official, we immediately began working together and building a relationship. He truly became a member of our county team. Some of the things I appreciate most about Mike, and I'm sure you will too, is he always greets you with a smile, has a positive can-do attitude, upbeat personality, and enjoys candid conversations. Mike has the ability to effectively communicate and collaborate as a team member with our staff. Often we banter code language, research, and provide consistency and intent of building code. His professionalism and expertise are invaluable and much appreciated. With that said, I would like to personally congratulate Mike DeRoya for 5 years of service and dedication to the city of St. Helens, Columbia County, and this community. We look forward to many years ahead, and thank you for all you do. Congrats, Mike. Thank you for
Very
letting me.
well said.
Thank you.
Yes, Michael has continued to pursue a lot of certifications too.
Yes.
And saved the city money and wasn't required some of those certifications, but he wanted to further educate himself and I imagine he'll continue to go. I don't know how far as electrical, he's capable of doing that, but yes, he's definitely a team player and great leader. And he's boss over John, and John was sick today, so he's not able to be here today. And yeah, he's really a good guy. He was a very good hire, so we applaud Michael DeRoya.
Thank you.
Okay. Right along. Annual report from our insurance agent, Chris Iverson, take the hill.
Hello, thank you. I can't believe the police didn't want to stick around and listen to this. This is riveting. Anyway, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Chris Iverson. I'm your insurance agent of record. I wanted to give a little bit of history on where we have our insurance. We are currently insured through City County Insurance Services. Many years ago, there used to be companies that would come in and write the cities and counties insurance for a year or 2 years, and then they get on it. So you'd be scrambling to find an insurance company. And finally, City County Insurance Services was formed, and they now insure about 98% of all the cities and counties in the state of Oregon. The ones they don't insure are the ones that are self-insured or that are so poorly run they won't offer insurance. To break this out, to insure all the pieces of this of a city, I would probably have to go to anywhere from 4 to 6 or 7 different insurance companies to get insurance that we have under this one package policy through CIS. Most other insurance companies won't come to Oregon anymore because the pricing and the coverage is so good through CIS that they just can't compete. I did go out and look for other markets again this year. CIS is still the best game in town, and as I said, 98% of all the cities and counties are insured through that program. So my recommendation is to stay in that program. Let me see here. We did see some fairly substantial increases this year in premiums. Some of the reasons for that are they did take about a 9% premium increase, and this is just not for the city of St. Helens. This is for everybody. And you guys are growing. You guys are just getting bigger. You're not a little city anymore. Your materials and services, or your personnel services are up by about 17%. Your materials and services are up by 76%, and that all drives premium. And so you're gonna see here. And if you have questions, stop me anytime. On the first page, this is the first box up there is the package policy. The package policy came in this year at 600,000. And as I said, most of that increase is due to you guys growing. We did increase, every year I do meet with department heads and I look at their departments and we talk about, you know, things that they bought, things that they don't have anymore, so we can get things off there that you don't want to insure things you don't have. We try to increase values on properties that are going to cost more to replace. And so this year that premium came in at about 608,000. If you look down the endorsements that we did, we deleted some vehicles, we added some vehicles, we added the police dog. But that your premium changes throughout the year due to those facts. Any big company does. The next premium is the worker compensation premium. It also went up, but the reason that it went up is because of the personnel services. It's driven by your experience modification, and that is your losses. And unfortunately, this year you went from a 1.2 to a 1.3. That's, and this is kind of confusing, but experience mods are set by a company or an entity called National Council on Compensation Insurance. Everybody that has workers gets an experience mod. If you have claims, that experience mod goes up. If you don't have claims, that experience mod goes down. So they look back 4 years, the first year being a lag year, and then the 3 prior years before that. So this year, the claims that we had in the past affected it, and so it went up to 1.3%. And then in addition, our payroll, your payroll also went up, and that's what drives this premium. So it came in at 119,000. The third line of business that we have is cyber liability insurance on the next page. I am able to go out and shop this, and I did go out and shop it. I got a company called, believe it or not, it's called Cowbell, but they have a very broad form. I looked for coverage for you guys. It's very broad. You need it. And anyway, they came in a little bit higher, about $2,000 higher than where I have you at now, the Coalition. We do have a $50,000 retention, which is essentially a $50,000 deductible on this. We can buy down that deductible to $25,000 for $1,796. I don't know if you guys are interested in doing that or not, but you can. So I wanted to throw that out there and let you talk about it. You can see it's written down right here below. The top sentence underneath the box is the Coalition quote with 25,000. It came in at 27,389. If we go to a 50,000, which we have now, it's 25,593. Cowbell does not offer a $50,000 retention. That's why I didn't list that there. The other issue I wanted to talk to you about, back to the workers' comp. We currently carry about 500,000 in workers' compensation for any injuries on the job. I'm seeing a lot of people go to $1 million and some of them up to 3 million. I did request quotes from that from SAFE and did not get them back. The lady that does that is on vacation, should be back by next week. I should have them by next week. But it's something that I think as your agent, I would really recommend you consider. Everybody knows what's happening with prices on healthcare and that type of thing and people's injuries. I'm seeing most of the large commercial accounts that I have in the private sector, they're at least $1 million. So I would recommend you look at that, but
Any idea on what the difference is?
I really don't, Rick. I don't know, and that's why I was trying to get it, and I called her again yesterday. As usual, they waited right to the last minute to get me all this information. I just was still putting it together last week, even though they complimented us, you guys and me, on getting them all the stuff they needed to do it early. They didn't give me the quotes until 3 days before I'm supposed to be here in front of you, and so it gives me time to go through them and ask questions, and they just didn't get back to me. I can certainly coordinate with Ron and get him the information. I should have it, I think by the first of next week. I should have that information. So,
Well, me personally, I think $1,700 is not a lot of money to run a cyber from 25 to 50,000. And it happens a lot.
Well-
You hear the horror stories.
I got it.
Yeah, it has
Yeah.
happened
Can you
before.
explain how it's utilized?
The cyber,
Yeah,
City of St. Helens had the largest cyber claim I've ever had from my office, and that was 2 years ago. They got hacked and it crashed their systems. They had to throw away hard drives. They had to start all over. And what happens when you have cyber coverage like this? They have a team of people that actually come in and work with you. If you lose information, say you have information, credit cards, things like that, personnel files, they help monitor people's credit systems or credit and all that, and help get back to notify people. They help you through all the state requirements that you have to go through. But last week I got a phone call on it's called a phishing scam. And one of my insurers was supposed to get a check for $530,000, and people were watching the conversations between the person that was supposed to pay him and them. And they sent an email to the person that was supposed to pay him. It was one letter off. It was the last word in the email address was construction. They left the I out of construction. So this person wired the money, $530,000 to the wrong bank account and everything else. They did recover part of it back, but the bank wouldn't release all the funds. I've seen more cyber claims in the last 3 to 5 years probably than I've seen any other single claim. It's just happening.
protect city employees. I just want to make sure I'm understanding.
It protects anything to do with your, I shouldn't say anything, it protects your computer systems. And yes, if you're operating a system here at City Hall and you open a spam email or a bad email and it infects the system, that's what it protects.
Okay,
And if you get sued as a result of it, it protects the liability for you as well. We currently have a limit of $1 million on that.
and now can you explain the retention again? I had it written down.
It's deductible. That's the easiest way to put it.
So pay a deductible or don't pay a deductible or?
Well, the deductible that we had, and what happened when the claim was up, they would only offer us a pretty high deductible, a $50,000 deductible. Now they've come back this year and they're backing off on that. So they've offered to reduce that deductible from $50,000 to $25,000 for an additional, $1,796. And I agree with Rick. I think
No, that made me understand it. So thank you.
$1,700. 18.
you're gonna save about $1,800. Yeah.
If we have a claim,
It's gonna cost, not save, it's gonna cost you an extra $1,800, but if you have a claim, it'll save you $25,000.
Exactly.
if we had a claim in 10 years, we'd still save money.
We
Yeah.
had a claim 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Makes sense. Okay.
but that's
And yeah, work with John on the other,
safe quote.
yeah, on the workman's comp. Mhm.
And we have gone out for years looking for other markets for the safe quote. When CIS wrote this, when CIS wrote the offered workers' comp, we tried to go through them and they weren't competitive. So it's the market for comp.
Uh-huh.
It just is. Every public entity, in fact, CIS now has sent all their comp over to safe. They don't do comp anymore. They have safe do it. So. Yes.
Which the city's been with SAFE since like 1922 or
You
so.
guys have been, and we've gotten some really good dividends from them. I haven't heard of any dividends, but safe will reimburse you money if the group does well as a whole. And I just haven't. I haven't heard of,
Been lucky.
well, I haven't heard,
1.3 instead of a 1.2.
I know, well, it's 10% on $100-some thousand premium, so it's not little money. I mean, it's big money, and that's you see, you guys are just, you're not little anymore. You're just getting to be a decent sized city, big sized city, so.
Any other?
I was just gonna say the cyber attack when it happened to us, we were watching it. There was huge amount out there, but we actually caught them as they're
Yes.
down corrupting computers. We got through about a dozen computers and people run around the building pulling the things out. And I think the League of Oregon Cities had a session on our event and how disruptive it was. just how easy it is to click that button on link or.
Yeah, but the city did a really good job on that. I mean, the city employees did a really good job on that. They saved a bunch. I mean, they unplugged it, they got on it right away and knew about it and did everything they could do.
Some IT issues at that point in time, just with what we had going on with the people that were doing IT, and we looked at that, and we also looked at our coverage and said, well, it's time to up that. So we had upped it, what, about 9 months prior to that happening?
I came in and made a recommendation. I was like, on this, I said, we really need to look at the cyber, and you guys went, yeah, we do, and it was unanimous to vote to buy the cyber, so which,
Yeah.
thank goodness, you guys did that.
We had a huge claim.
Yeah, thank goodness it was covered. So. And I know this is exciting. You guys are gonna work hard and it's gonna be a hard teacher.
You know, it's not the board, yes, one we had.
I know. Thank you. I think that was kind of a compliment. Wasn't it? The most boring.
It's insurance, but it's not.
Yeah, well, you know, I just,
So I think I heard a census of definitely the, up in our.
lowering the deductible on the cyber.
Yep.
And I'll hit John and maybe he can make phone calls or whatever on the workers' comp. and see what the difference is.
Yeah.
Yeah, 500 to 1 million or even 3 million if you want, but I'll get numbers on all of it and I'll call him and let him know what they are and. So,
Like you said, this day and age with the medical profession, it only takes a few claims to be right up to that 500.
oh, no, it's, and yeah, it's not a big deal. And you guys, the ones that I haven't talked to before, you're welcome to come in anytime because there are some things that affect you too, as far as the insurance and we have directors and officers coverage, and I can tell you about some limits on that. We have 10 million on that. So if you guys get sued, as long as you're within the course and scope of your duties as a council person, we have 10 million that will protect you from that. So on any time you want to talk about that kind of stuff, just give me a call.
You right up there by Derry Delish.
Yeah, I'm by Derry Delish. I'm easy to find.
What years were you on the council?
I don't remember. I sat right there where Mark's sitting right now. That was my chair. And
I understand that, but
2 more weeks on the port, or about a week on the port, I'm done after 14 years, so, yeah. So,
What is your next adventure gonna be?
nothing, my wife says I'm done, so.
Apparently you're sealing the mud and then just gonna keep creating, suck out the creosote on the port property.
We haven't got our final information yet, it's only been 22 years and about 4 or 5
Yeah,
million.
I know it's been a long time.
Yeah, 22 years. We've been, ever since I've been on there, we've been dealing with this. In fact, the people that were supposed to be 98% responsible for it, we were supposed to pay 2%, went bankrupt. And so now port's on it for 100%.
Hmm.
Yeah. It
Yeah, it is what it is. I know.
any other questions?
All right.
Thank you for everything. I appreciate it. We'll get this going.
Thank you, Chris.
Can't see you guys. Okay, bye-bye.
This was here in 97, 98.
Oh, I was?
Okay, we're gonna go on to our next item on our agenda, which is annual report from the city auditor, Delaney of Polly Rogers. Connor, how are you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing well. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah, so just a quick introduction. I'm Connor Delaney. I'm senior manager in charge of field work for City of St. Helens 2022 audit. Just kind of wanted to go over quickly the reports that we issued in relation to the audit. We have 2 reports. There's the financial report and the independent auditor's report that's included in that, as well as a letter to the governing body, which basically is a brief summary of the overall audit process. If I have the ability to share my screen, I should be able to show you guys what I'm talking about here. Perfect. So can everyone see? Okay, perfect. Everyone can see that. So this right here is the front page of the financial report. And the independent auditor's report is basically the auditor's opinion letter, which is the kind of the first thing. And basically kind of just a synopsis of what our opinion is. We've provided what's called an unmodified opinion on the financial statements. It's the highest level opinion we can issue. It basically says the financial statements, in our opinion, are clean and look good. There's some other information in there, just informational things. Change in accounting principle was a new thing for 2022. The city adopted a new accounting standard on how it reports its leases, which was kind of a pain for management to come up with information on, but got it done. Other than that, it's just general information. In addition to that, we also, let me just change this to the other report. In the back of the report, there's the auditor's report on Oregon state regulations. There's basically a few other procedures that the state requires us to perform when we do the audit. And there were a couple comments that we had when we looked at those, when we did those procedures. The first one was, if I look at item number 1 here, in June of 2022, the city approved a resolution basically amending its original budget for the fiscal year. And kind of what happened was it was presented in the format of an appropriations transfer, but in reality, since it created additional expenditures, what it amounted to was a supplemental budget. And as far as we could tell, management couldn't locate documentation that the public notices and all the forms and the actual formal budget schedules were actually published in the paper or on the website for that prior to the meeting in June, which is just, it's a technical thing, but we're just required to report on that. And then there were 4 items, if you look through the report, 3 in the general fund and then 1 in a different fund, basically where the actual expenditures were exceeding what their appropriations were, which that's a pretty common finding. Other cities throughout the state, you'll commonly see that because it's just difficult to always be on top of exactly what the true expenditures are going to be for the year. Just something that we have to report on, though. The final report included in the financial report, there's some information regarding, this was the first year that the city had a federal audit, basically, since you had the COVID-19 stimulus funds and as well as a significant CDBG block grant. So that was created a requirement for some additional procedures that we even had to do with that. And the reports in the remaining part of that we provide in the report talk about that. The single audit, which was what it's called, the federal audit, was clean, so everything looked good there. Other than that, those are the main reports. The governing body letter kind of just goes over mainly exactly what I just went over in terms of what the findings were, clean, the results of the audit here. Unmodified opinion, which is good. Just a couple findings on the Oregon requirements. Federal audit looked good. And in terms of the management letter, that is the final. We didn't, in the prior years, we would include a separate letter, but since the federal audit format is a little bit different, there was one finding, and that's the same as we actually issued in 2021, mainly just regarding timeliness of reconciling accounts and getting the general ledger ready for audit. And I know 2022 was a particularly difficult year for the city because the previous finance director left the city right before the normal audit process for 2022 was about to start. And then it took a while to find someone to come in and get everything cleaned up and reconciled. And also I should probably take a couple minutes or just a minute here to thank, I know if he's out there, if he ever sees this, John Ellis, the city hired the prior from years back finance director, came in on a contract basis and cleaned everything up. And I just want to say, I know he did an enormous amount of work on that. It took many, many hours for him to go back and basically recreate the year in the system. So wherever you are, John, thank you very much for that. And also now handing that off to Gloria, the new finance director that's been hired. I want to also thank her and the rest of the staff for everything they did to kind of get the 2022 audit to the finish line. So thanks very much to everyone.
Thank you, Connor.
Yes.
I said, thank you, Connor. Thank you
Oh, yeah,
for-
thank you. So
Yes, and
if
I'd
that,
like- also thank Lori and thank John Ellis too. John was we didn't know what we were gonna do, and it was like the wheels were falling off and. Our city administrator made a phone call and just by happenstance, he said, yes, I will hire back for a short time.
yeah,
So,
definitely.
yep. Any questions for Connor? I'm not seeing any questions. Is that a good thing?
Thank you, guys.
I think that's a good thing, isn't it, Connor?
Oh, yeah, that's definitely a good thing.
All right, well, thank you again for being our auditor, and you guys are hard to come by as well. So,
Yeah, I know that.
so, appreciate your hard work and thank you very much.
All right, thank you, guys.
Yeah. Holy cow, flying right along. I'm not trying to jinx it either. It's knock on wood. This is where my. Our next item on the agenda is semi-annual report from tourism, P3, PPP product productions. Well, Peter.
And Kathy has some slides. That she can kind of show. So we continue to run our 13 nights on the river, and I think that it's going well, and we were able to solve some problems that we had regarding children and activities that we were undesirable. The last 2 weeks have been really a great change in the behavior and in everybody that was down there. And they've been extraordinarily busy, so it's been a great turnout. In May, we also added a science circus in the plaza, which was kind of fun to have. Added some more free things that the community could attend if they wanted to attend. We also have July the 4th coming up, which of course is, a city event. And we have a very packed day of everything from music to, of course, the bell ringing, the flag raising. We have new activities in the plaza. We have some goats that are coming. And we have music starting at 3 o'clock. Actually, ahead of that is the Larry Jackson Big Band. Which will
Yeah,
be there in
and
the
the
plaza,
plaza, yeah.
which is awesome. We'll have cupcakes.
That's at
and
1
all
o'clock?
kinds of things.
The big band at 1 o'clock?
I think it is at 1,
Yeah.
yeah. And then, of course, we all know that parking is gonna be something that you need to plan ahead and find on your own. And maybe get dropped off and somebody goes ahead and puts you in or meets you there. We have, of course, the Sand Island competition, which is going to be its 3rd annual this year in August, and we have a return of the Mardi Gras Street Party, which is going to be in July on the 15th. Of course, we all know that Halloween visits us, and that is starting on September the 16th. We have Twilight people that are coming that weekend that are celebrities that are really fun to have in town and just adds a lot of oomph to the first weekend. Then if you want to flip to the next page, Kathy. Basically, this is a slide that you've seen before, but it's actually able to be tracked, which is great. And because of this activity, we've had several businesses that have made enough money in other locations during Halloween that they're actually renting storefront areas now. So one of them is the record company here that is now right across right by Billy's. And then also Spilt Ink Gallery, which is we let them do a pop-up booth last year just to try it during the summertime, and they did well enough that they decided to also rent space and put another business on South First Street. So that's awesome. And then if we also have added new sponsors to our list with Laurelwood Brewing. And also Rogue is going to be participating as well. We are continuing with the Halloween hunt, which takes guests directly uptown. And people really enjoyed this last year. It was a favorite activity and it's a great value for a family to go uptown and hunt for some squares. And they go to Sunshine Pizza and have a slice of pizza, and they have a crystal ball on the table so they can see what their fortune has to say about their upcoming future. Then, of course, we have.
The shuttle service to take them up, right?
And
To that area, yeah.
Yeah.
You had Nightmare on 4th Street
Yeah,
with the train.
yeah, and then that is expanded this year. That was really successful. The people on board loved it. We have subsequent meetings with them. They give us all kinds of ideas about what they want to do to improve their experience. And I think that the live character involvement with that was awesome. This year, we're going to be adding some more things to the 4th Street element. And people are going to be able to go to a house and listen to the story at that house for like a minute or so. So that Judy, who faithfully executed a lot of this with a lot of other volunteers, will be
I was
able.
there in my zombie console here, being security, so, yeah.
Yeah, and so we'll be able to expand the experience for the guests. And we'll be able to take more people because the trains were like full pretty much. They were really, busy. And we're also selling an after hour ticket now, which is the train to decorated homes, the haunted house, and a new exhibit called the Big Exhibit of Halloween, which is going to be down on the waterfront. And also we have, we're waiting on our entry system for the doors for the Alien Museum, which is with the Museum of Oddities, so that people will be able to put their own key passcode in, just like you do when you go into an escape room. So that we don't have to be on site. They actually will be able to go in and experience the whole thing themselves. And that will be something that we can do year round. We can do it anytime, all months of the year. So the entry system's been like a little bit of a challenge here, but we've worked through it now. We have some upcoming billboards that will be on Highway 30.
I love that.
And yeah, those are gonna be super fun, I think. And then the You Say Hello, We Say Hello, Halloween Town is going to be on all of our staff this year so that they'll be easily identifiable. And then so those are almost ready to go. Those will be up and starting, I want to say in like August. So we'll be sending people to Discover Columbia County as the main site because we want to also let people know that there's other things going on if they want to explore that. And I would say so far last year, this year, the highlights for tourism would be finding solutions for 13 nights, the Science Circus, Mardi Gras in July, updated museum offerings, the new train experience is coming. One thing that we have been concentrating on is Sand Island. And partially because we installed a par 3 golf course over there, a disc golf course. So now we have the McCormick Golf Course, we have a par 3 on Sand Island, and if we get one more golf course, we could run quarterly tournaments here, which would be, I think, really popular because they're close to Portland, they're close to a lot of other places, and McCormick Park gets great reviews from the disc golf community at large. And there is a person that is on Sand Island that wants to be like the Commodore for disc golf over there, who's a disc golf enthusiast. So that is already installed and we're just putting the flags, we're getting the flags put in now. We've also been creating new opportunities for volunteers. Should anyone want to volunteer, we would welcome that. And we have the new sponsors that I mentioned with the 2 brewing companies, and we have others that are also interested that I can't say who they are right now, but they would be awesome. So I'm hoping, I know that that's coming to fruition, but I have to have a contract before I can announce it. We have updated the haunted house. It is very, very awesome.
Is it scary now?
It's scary.
I was disappointed. I was really wanting to get scared.
We have to like make it a little family friendly
Yeah.
because the kids come out crying. So I'm like, okay.
That's kind of.
They get, they get around the first bend and then they're like, we didn't even make it through the first bend and they're already crying. I'm like, oh, I tell you, it's scary. But, it's not horrifying, but definitely it's got some new things that are really catch you off guard. We also have been, enhancing our entertainment with, celebrities, more celebrities coming. And of course, Marnie is returning to town for the weekend of the 20th. And, some of the other characters, so we'll have that'll be a big weekend, I'm sure, besides the parade weekend. We have something going on every weekend that's kind of special. On the second weekend after the Twilight weekend on September 16th, the next weekend, we have a Hocus Pocus centered weekend. And the kids that were in Hocus Pocus 2 are all coming. So they'll be here for photographs and, autographs and fun things. We have some contests around that. We also are working on parking solutions for Halloween. And our thought is that we will have parking behind the rec center and kind of in through that area as you get to Boise. We might even need to go back into the Cascades area that we control. And we'll have buses that take people. So there will be no parking down here. We're basically telling people you can't park here. So don't try.
Buses probably good.
Free.
Free, okay.
Yeah,
Well, just
that'll be a nice, interesting bill that will come in for that. But we will figure it out. We will
Now, will
pay
you
for it.
use the local service here or us?
Whoever, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, some of them don't do it, so I've been on the phone with all of them, but I do have someone that can do it now. And with that parking, we also will have enhanced signage and traffic control. We have some new barricades that we've bought that closes roads and streets. We have last year we absolutely didn't have any lines at the restrooms, so that was amazing. And we actually took pictures every hour. The person that was in charge of cleaning the bathroom took pictures so that we knew if there was ever a time that we could predict that it was going to be so full and people would have to wait. And actually, I think the biggest wait was like maybe 6 minutes, except during the parade, which we don't really control that situation. But the garbage is always a thing and it's just constant because we have so many people. But we can't even find more places for garbage cans. I mean, we have this full here. We had garbage cans down at the riverfront. We had garbage cans behind the haunted house. And we just keep continuing to, figure out, I think I had some in the parking lot and city parking lot. We have garbage cans that we're like moving around all the time. And the only thing that I would love to maybe see if we can make it work would be like a Going Green garbage initiative where people are sorting garbage on site and we're like, we're condensing the garbage. We already do, of course, cans and bottles and things, but that would be a goal. If I could find a group that wanted to make some extra money and really go after making us like a recycle central at the same time with all this stuff that's going on. I would have the vendors, I would require the vendors use like recyclable materials for bowls and cups and things like that. And then we've been, working on trying to get people to come to town and try business here and see how it goes. And, we've been successful with that. It's a challenge. But we have been able to make that happen. And we have enhanced the video surveillance in the plaza and on the streets and in front of City Hall, which has also really helped out a lot. I know the police have used them a few times. The accident that was out here, we had that tape in like 5 minutes that we could give to the police. And maybe something that the city somebody wants to take over, because we've got, we have a really pretty widespread system of surveillance at this point down here. And it definitely has stopped people from stealing a lot. Because we see you, you are right there, and we can, definitely know who shouldn't be doing things. So that has really helped. We also we'll be placing even more security stuff. Like inside of the haunted house and inside of the museum, those places are really surveilled. So I don't know about signage that maybe we should be putting up somewhere to let people know that we have all this surveillance going on, so that it lets them know that, you're not gonna just run away, except with the ATM machine, which we're waiting to get replaced, but I don't know where that's at.
The bad joke.
Yeah, well, we know who the cars are for sure, but the new passenger boat is coming online. Roger and Public Works have been very helpful in getting to just know that vessel. I think it's good for the city people to also kind of know how that runs, so that we aren't, if somebody doesn't show up or somebody's not here, it's not like, oh, whoa, we have this boat, now what? So we have a boat captain who is awesome, and that hopefully the next step for the boat will be to have the Coast Guard here certify it, and then we apply for the license for being able to charge people. And we've been in contact with all these people along the way, so that shouldn't be a huge process.
We're dealing with government though.
Well, yes, but some of them are private, so I think the government piece will actually be very streamlined.
I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah, so they've already given us a list of, this is what we need to do, and we've had it for a while, so they're just waiting for us to call the meeting. Then the Penny Press moved from Molly's Market to Spilt Ink, because they're open most of the time. They're open a lot of hours, and just across the street from Molly's. So we'll be promoting that the Penny Press is there, and it's good to support little stores that just open and let people know where they are, as things like that. And the vending machine is now in the black, so that's good. We have a little tiny tractor that is on Sand Island for mowing the burrs and for pulling some stuff when we get over there and we need stuff for Halloween to make it go, like bark dust and things like that. We've upgraded the power and the lighting and the plaza and on City Hall, so that we can have more vendors that come in for food. We have a couple of generators that are on Sand Island, so that we can have power there when we need it, when people get over there, so that we can run showers and we can run all kinds of things. And Sand Island, if you haven't been there, is really, there's a lot going on. I think there's some great improvements that people are gonna really enjoy once the cabins come in, and those will probably be sold out forever. And then, also just like updating the cover where people can go and sit and use a canopy that's a covered area, bathrooms, real bathrooms. I mean, there's a lot of things going on over there that are going to be really good for tourism and good for people that are coming into town. We also have a ton of new power cables and Christmas lights for Christmas time, Christmas props. And we have multiple new props that are coming for various events. And one of the things that we try to do is, of course, make it interesting for people that come back year after year, because we have people that have come here every year and they drive or they fly, which is wonderful. So we have new Halloween installations that are coming this year. We bought a 40 by 100 commercial tent that's going to be the home of the big Halloween exhibit. And
Big Halloween exhibit. And keeping this
it's like vintage Halloween, but I think it's gonna be really cool when you go in. It'll be really like something that you might see at like an exhibit center.
The history of
Yeah,
Halloween.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And we also, of course, are doing offsite parking with shuttle buses. And we've also purchased like additional storage containers because you guys own so much, you need to have more storage. So as we get props that are bigger and bigger and bigger, it's like we need more storage. So we went ahead and got 2 containers that are now also in the Cascade property, and those are filling up with all kinds of things that we need to make it fun and go. And of course, we also did the Sun-Made raisins last year. We loved having them here. And they were very happy with what they got out of that entire campaign. And then the next slide, which is what's happening right now, is the film crew will be back to continue with the documentary. And they're gonna be here
What's that?
next month. It's taking them like 2 years. This is a real thing. It's not like put this together in 30 seconds and do clips. It's
Wait,
like.
you're talking
a
about the
real
movie or
documentary.
the documentary? Okay, so something separate.
They were here.
Yeah, they were here last year to start. This year they'll be back and they'll complete hopefully everything that they need this year. And then as well, OPB is going to come and do a segment on the sandcastle competition.
Which is very cool, by the way. You have world champion ice sculptors, guy who was on the Food Network who did cake carving and pumpkin carving on the Food Network. Wade and Brittany are really right up there with him. It's just next level. If you haven't experienced that, it is pretty cool.
I need to do that.
You should. Everybody should, as a matter of fact, but we're hoping that we will get lots of people to the sand carving competition because OPB will be there and we want to have like lots of people. So plan to invite your families, friends, relatives, and people you don't speak to.
Get that boat
to a
certified.
wonderful weekend.
Get that boat certified.
Oh, it'll be there. Sure. Probably swim over and like with a platform on my back. And then of course, Crystal does like the communication side. She gives you a report of all of the numbers that have to do with communication. I want to make sure and thank, there's so many people that make this stuff all happen that it is, it takes the whole city to help promote this and just do the work that it takes from, using the drill to put something on the roof or put lights up or anything. So we want to thank all of the people in Public Works and my tourism liaison, Stephanie, who you can always reach out to as well. The volunteers are huge and all these organizations that are really part of it. I always want to, do some school fundraising as well. We are now the sponsor for the ACES team, the award-winning state champion ACES. We're sponsoring them. So when they go out and are beating everybody across the state, they know that it's, you know, Spirit of Halloween Town that powered them and gave them that magic. So, we also, you know, want to thank you for the opportunity to, bring this to, you know, St. Helens and make it go. I've have people that ask me, you know, for commitments of time and energy, sometimes from other organizations, and I basically tell them no. Got too much to do in St. Helens. Some of the challenges that we continue to have is, you know, we want to try to, I know that you have a new ethics thing, which is great, so that maybe we'll sage some of these issues that we have with harassment and bullying by people. And also, you know, we're working on parking as an event company, but I think it's gonna be, we hear a lot of feedback from people that are concerned about what parking is gonna look like in the future. And I hope that we can solve those issues with them rather than make them wait until it's like, oh, well, you would have known this a long time ago. Why didn't you tell us? The other thing is that because we do have cameras, we know exactly who is damaging things. We have them on camera, and it's like, do we want to ever press charges of people that do, you know, damage and like a few $1,000s for each? I think, I don't know. I mean, I'm just asking your opinion about that. What do you think? And then I think that it's really important right now that we get correct messaging, and if you, as a council person, get misinformation, I think before you put it in the public, you should definitely stop and go, wait a second. Should I be saying this or not? And part of that challenge has been with the vote. The mystery vote, which has existed the whole time and was sitting in our lot. And we need to, when we know something is wrong, I think that we need to say it, because when we don't, they think, oh, it's true. And then I get all these questions about like, what is going on? You know, which we can immediately shut down if we just say it right away. So that would be something that would be really helpful to this tourism department, is to make sure we get accurate information and we know it to be true. And I think that that's kind of it. We're doing some volunteer projects and helping some people clean up their houses and their front yards and areas in town that need some special attention, where the officer that goes around and tickets people for unsightly yards and things like that. Yeah, we're trying to like make changes in that direction so that people take pride in their ownership and they see that they're part of the street, and you know, that they are very much in the fabric of the community. So doing some fun volunteer things like that.
I have one question for you. I know there for a while, you mentioned it in there, you've been working really hard at trying to meet with local business owners and stuff as a, like, before and after Halloween Town. When is your pre-Halloween Town community meeting scheduled?
Well, we already did one. We did one meeting right following Halloween Town. And then I've been in conversations with lots of people that have special projects, like the people that do the Nightmare on 4th Street.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll have another, and of course, our vendors, we're super active with the vendors because we're sold out of vendors right now. And we're trying to figure out if we could maybe make more space, but honestly, it becomes really complicated because we don't really have parking for them. And we also want to make sure our vendors, you know, are happy, because we don't have 15 people that all do the same thing. So we work with the vendors year round. And we'll probably have another meeting, I would say like in July. Probably the second or third week of July. But people just know that they can call me. I mean, I get so many emails from people.
I think I just noticed that at that last meeting, I felt like most people that were there, I should say most people, left feeling like they were heard and they knew a little bit about what was going on. So I think it's just helpful to have those little meetings, before and after Halloween
Yeah.
Town. So
Yeah,
I think people, they know you and they know that you're here with.
or Stephanie too.
Yeah, and it could even be Stephanie that holds those meetings if you
Yeah.
would rather hide somewhere else.
Well, I mean,
She's our
Stephanie,
liaison.
yeah, Stephanie is great because she works with the vendors in a very extensive way. And then people call, I mean, if people could see how many emails and messages we get, it's not uncommon for me to get a few hundred messages a day. Especially once ticket sales start, because people have questions about what's the ticket. And the ticketing site, we changed the ticketing site this year. So that we have a, just it's quicker, and hopefully when people come to town, they don't any longer have to go to an information booth to check in. They can just go to the first activity and check in for that activity and any other activity that they also have purchased, which is included in like a ticket. Because there's 3 kinds of tickets, whether it's general admission or after dark, or just the haunted house, or the big ticket, which includes Sand Island and the boat ride. There's all kinds of different tickets.
The big,
Yeah, so instead of,
That's the great thing is that you talked about a lot of the changes you're making with an information booth, like who's gonna be wearing what shirt so that people
Yeah.
know. Verbiage changes and like all of that you're doing, and with the train and the boat and stuff, and I think that's another reason why you could. Even just, perhaps present a little PowerPoint of the updates for Halloween Town to share with
Yeah.
those people that come to that meeting. It doesn't even have to be a Q&A or back and forth, just an information share.
yeah,
Here's what
we're
we're
going through the tickets and saying, this is this ticket, this is what this does.
So people know what's going on, because you're doing a lot of great things and you've already addressed a lot of the challenges that people are complaining about. So this, it's an idea.
Never know. But does anyone have any other questions?
so, I would like to just state for the record, and I do have one question for you though, that your wage does not come out of our general fund.
No,
Your wage is paid for by the events that are ran. And actually you give back to the community more than we spend on you. That you generate that money to pay yourself as
Yeah.
well, so. There's been a lot of, why do we pay this gal for this and we're cutting an officer's position? That is just not the case, so I wanna make sure that that is very clear for anybody listening. But then I also wanted to ask you, what do you think about in the future? Of a potential little public safety fee being added to these big ticket weekends?
no,
You don't think so?
no.
Okay, because my concern is that we're gonna need. Public safety
Yeah,
and
of course.
further, or even for you.
Yeah.
To have that money to prove that you're hiring some type of security too.
Well,
So I wouldn't say no completely to it.
Well, we
I
try
would keep a
to,
very open mind to it,
we
Tina.
actually try to hire the police department and pay them time and a half, and then.
Well, we are understaffed. I mean, that's just the bottom line.
Well, I mean, okay, so that's not,
We got
doesn't,
Merrill, people out of Merrill League last year.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what we're.
Yeah. but I mean, if we need, if we need
The whole city's doing.
security, we would hire.
I'm just letting you know, I'm pretty in tune with what the whole city has
Yeah.
going on as mayor, and there was a lot of people on marital leave. Cutright had an injury, jumping the fence. We were very short staffed
Yeah.
last year. So that's why it was.
And I mean, that could be the same this
So,
year, because we
it
don't
could be.
know.
It could be, but we actually have you that are gonna be here for the middle of October. That could definitely be down here. We just met John and Jonathan today. That absolutely could, so. I wouldn't say completely no, I mean, just keep an open mind to that,
Well, when we give money back to the general fund,
yes.
you
And
guys
you
have
do.
the ability to spend that wherever you want.
But I just wanted to throw that out there,
Yeah.
maybe sometimes because people purchase ticket, if that if that, tax is too high, because every time you go to buy
I
something,
know. That's why
airfare
I
or
changed
something,
the ticketing.
it's like boom, and then you're like, okay, that's not too bad. And then you're like, why is it $25 more?
Yeah.
You're looking at making tax this, tax that.
Yeah, that's why we changed the ticketing site, because we had people complaining that the ticket taxes and fees were too high. So the site this year that we
But you do
changed,
get back, you're right, you get back the general fund, yeah, so.
and you guys control where that goes.
So it's something to think about maybe in the future, and we'll talk about, you know, what that looks like even, even if it is coming to the general fund.
Yeah,
So, yep,
I mean, I would love to have officers down here, but in the last 2 years, you know, we've had officers at our events 4 times. You know, and I would say that 2 of them were not important in the big picture of importance. One was very important because it involved a child.
yes,
And we had that on camera, thankfully, so they were able to use that. And then otherwise, I mean, you were with me one time when I called them for 13 nights. And there were they were those kinds of calls, but in 2 years, we made 4 calls. I just know that that's what happened because we're calling them. So if we can have, you know, if we can have people or security or whatever down here, I'm all for it because we have a lot of people here.
you got a question?
Well, comment, our police no longer provide security for the municipal court. We would contract that.
Yeah.
Is that an avenue to explore?
I think I would like to see it on our, an agenda soon to talk about what that might look like. And not necessarily, we could, I mean, if you would want to talk about the tax, but even where the money is coming out of the general fund and where it's attributed to now and how we might need to be creative with that
Yeah.
going forward.
Yep, the money that she puts in the. general.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Okay, lots going on, good work. Yes.
Thank
very good
you.
work.
yeah.
Very exciting.
Okay, review amendment with OTAC agreement, project management of public safety, building, John Walsh.
Mayor.
Yep,
This is a lot less moving parts than tourism, but so this is the agreement with our owner's representative, David Lentz and his associate Julie Mullerman. And their contract to represent the city in the construction of the police station, public safety facility. And they've been working on a time and material basis. They're going to continue to do that with this amendment, and it just trues up before we hadn't had a contractor selected or the method of delivery on how we're going to go about it and whether it's a bid or this MGC model. And now we know that with Howard S. Wright coming online. And there's an amendment on tonight for a contract for those services. It's the same rate as we're doing right now. It's $110,000 limit. It's time and materials. We don't use it all. We don't spend it all, but they've been a huge asset in just coming off. You know, David Lentz has managed projects his whole career. He just came off the police station project there. Actually, City Hall and police station. So it's for a lot of value. And I recommend approval tonight.
any questions for John on that? Watching doing their work, it's pretty impressive, so. We look skeptical when we first said, what is this going on here, right? But it's actually the way to go, so. It's pretty impressed. Just, when I told my mind, there's a fundraiser coming up for the Amani Center. You guys want to take a look at it, in the mail. So, sorry, John, but.
No, that's good. No, that's good.
Let's go to your report.
Right. So yeah, lots to report on, but I'll try to stick to a high level here. You know, we have the budget play here. There's some social media traction about the city going broke. Be able to afford the different things or projects and address that. When you, in all the years that we've forecasted out 5 years, it always looks dismal. It goes out and it just kind of drops off. And so if you not knowing, we look at that and say, yeah, you're gonna run out of money, but the reality is that we have control of expenses and revenues, and we adjust accordingly. We make those changes as we go, and we're never gonna get there, so we're gonna be all right. On the projects, it's a time when we're looking at spending a lot of money investing in our community's future, and we have things like the Urban Renewal Agency that is tracking just perfectly chugging along perfectly, or the way we structured the debt using Business Oregon, for these. We have this construction period. Once we get done, we don't have to make a payment for 3 years. 3 years and 3 months. So that gives it even more increment to kind of build up revenue. And even right now, we can.
It's projected, we didn't go above what we was
Right,
projected.
and all those build in a safety factor, which is called the debt coverage ratio.
Yes.
We have. And it's exceptionally high, actually, in that Urban Renewal Agency, and just to, as an abundance of caution, where it's 1.5 to the percentage. We're gonna fund $1 million, we need to have $1.5 million in the payment, so we're taking it in fund revenue, so.
Sorry, I'm not trying to get Mark's attention, but grab that money. No, the Urban Renewal is doing really good. In a sense, that it is better than projected. We went modest
We
with
did.
all the new housing and great stuff.
Low growth, medium growth, high
Yes.
growth scenarios.
Yes. The house place
It didn't
apartments.
start off rough, and Armstrong leaving and
Yes,
kind
that
of
was the big blow,
delayed us, but we're kind of back on track and rebounded pretty well.
but we amended that.
We
took
came
that
in,
out.
took some property, no, we didn't take Armstrong out, but we took other
Added.
wetland areas out, things like that.
Yes.
Put in some productive lands in the areas that were like Legacy, we thought was gonna be a big tax investment, the new homes on Broadleaf Harbor, we thought were gonna be a big and good for the agency. That turned out being tax exempt, nonprofit tax exempt, so we removed that and took in some other areas. But still under the cap by about 5% or so. So while we're on that, the talking about I've been working with, Lori and I and others have been working to like explore. What we heard from the council is that, we want to fill that vacant officer position. There's still funding the reserves, still funding the budget with reserves, so that's that's an issue that we're gonna have to address as part of this, but one of the things that the Urban Renewal has capability to do is the general fund has supported the creation of the Urban Renewal Agency. It also has supported the administrative aspects of the Urban Renewal Agency. Myself, Gloria, and Jenny Show all do sizable amount of work with the agency, and we're eligible to capture some of those expenses. And this is actually contemplated in the plan for administrative expenses. Those administrative expenses would be a general fund payback revenue. So there's a recurring piece of that, which is we can do the next 20 years of paying some admin costs for deferring some of my salary and Lori's salary and Jenny's to help the general fund out. Basically, so that allows more capacity. There's no plan amendments, it's already allowed. The only thing it isn't is that we haven't budgeted to the Urban Renewal Agency, we'll have to figure that one out.
Will we call a special meeting for that?
We would need to do that, for we would need to do a supplemental budget in order to expend, because there's no expenditure.
Are you the
budget.
chair of the Urban Renewal?
You really think that is?
It was.
I think Doug.
I thought I hit it
Doug
over.
Made me do
I
it.
thought
don't know.
you were, yeah, I think you are.
So we would need to call a special session through the Urban Renewal Agency, right?
Yes.
We would, and we would need to, staff would have to prepare a supplemental budget to bring to that meeting, and we would need to have publishing
So
time.
you move forward with that because we all heard about the position that's unfilled and we know what we have going on. So that would be great. I'm glad you guys, you've heard from all of us about this with the police.
Very happy with your guys' creativity and willingness to go back to the drawing board and look at some things that we can do. So thank you.
Yeah, and that's, it's a recurring thing. The one-time revenue policy is just really, really not. We want to be able to have parks in the future, park property. When we sell something, we want to acquire something else, bring value to the long term. So yeah, working on that, talking with the chief about, his operations and schedule and what they can do. Just to keep providing services, getting people on the road, hiring the 2 new officers who met today are, they're not gonna go to the academy till October. Pretty long lead on that. But still happy to have 2 in 1 meeting. That's fantastic.
Hopefully we keep them busy enough to go anywhere. I mean, they still gotta get through the academy, I guess.
Still a lot to do. They ride along. Wanted to touch base on the city's policy for removing these abandoned and derelict vehicles that show up in our rights of way. They're pretty proactive, working with our code enforcement and the police on establishing some protocols for that. And it's kind of a broken windows syndrome where you see a broken window and it's more likely to get broken. So if you start seeing these RVs, they start to kind of stack up. And seems like Oregon Street up there in front of the shops has been a popular spot. Pretty aggressive. Tag them right now, who the owner is, and and make them move it. But a lot of times that's difficult because they're chiseling off the plate ID numbers and leaving it for us or for someone else to take care of it. And we've towed a few of them. The expense, a motorhome can be to $2,500, $3,000.
Yeah, our cost.
Our cost.
Our cost, yes, because there's no money in for scrap or anything like that.
No, it's a total.
It's not good.
Trying to come up with some way to go back, get the person that dumped it there, but that's seems to be. Yeah, we're still talking about that recourse, recourse there. But, like, we can identify a pool of funding. We've been hitting the community development fund. It could equally, we might even qualify for, I don't know if we qualify for urban renewal or not, but we're trying to find a solution to not tap the police budget. They're strapped and it was, it's a lot of money to them. But yeah, keep our streets clean. Three of those kinds of things. Talked about the since we awarded the police station to Howard S. Wright, we had a kickoff meeting, kind of a page turn, went through every page of the documents to orientate them. The next steps are going to be establishing our contract docs with documents with Howard S. Wright, contractor, getting to final design. There's a bidding process that goes in where the contractor is doing a lot of the bidding for his subs right there, and then we're going to negotiate a guaranteed maximum price. So we'll know exactly how much the facility is going to be. And that's kind of the value of doing this. And it's really about, they get their margins that they want. It's incentive for us to, keep the price within budget. At the end of the day, it comes to a concept that it's called target value, TVD, they call it target value design. And that's basically adjusting the amount of money resources we have towards a facility to make it work. If there's, things that we need to remove, we already have removed a lot, and there's priority add backs about what we would do if there's excess funding. It's all moving along nicely. Yesterday, there was a pre-bidding meeting for contractors out at the Pittsburgh Reservoir site for the new reservoir. Great turnout, lots of contractors. We're incredibly pleased about that. And that'll be a similar, rather than a low bid, it'll be a design build bid. So we'll be working with the contractor towards a solution that the city and the contractor gets theirs. Hopefully it's something about win-win. So that bid's open for a while, a month more before bids are due. I'll leave Citizens Days for others to talk about. And the 4th of July is, we mentioned some of the variables going into that, working with St. Helens Marina has, donated the use of their barge and their small tug. They're going to it's gonna come, the show's gonna happen from a barge. It's gonna go in the morning and go up to the port, on port property, get loaded up. They're putting a shovel nose ramp on the front of the barge so it can wheel them right on. It's a lot smaller barge, so it should get nice and close. And then they'll bring it back and it'll be off the shore here, but not as far north this time. It's gonna be a little more.
I was gonna say central,
A
right?
little more central because there's not as much parking on that end, so. They'll shoot fireworks off at 10 o'clock and then put the barge back and we'll unload it the next day and. It's all pretty rehearsed and choreographed. I think we got it. And, so on more of a personal professional development note, I'm on the League of Oregon Cities board. I've been part of a number of committees. Senior members, and it's actually quite a commitment.
Yeah.
This is my last year. I'm going off that board.
Trying to get me to do stuff.
And well, I did, yeah. At the same time, I got invited to be president-elect of OCCMA or apply for that, and I'm just kind of. It's something I don't think I do without council's blessing, because Gloria's on the government finance.
OGFOA, I'm the current president.
She's the current president, and it's pretty demanding. I am undecided. Yeah, that's a lot of other words.
Why?
That's exactly it.
Give me advice.
I didn't have it on my bucket list, but it comes up. It's great. Hopefully the council support it. If they're not, I would like to know. I just would do it. But lastly, on the same professional development, as part of my international city manager credential manager status. There's ongoing commitment to education, but every 5 years you have to do a 360 assessment. So it's an evaluation that takes the board, direct reports, peers, entities. I will be doing that.
You're gonna get phone calls in?
Probably an email.
Okay.
So, yeah, no, it's good. It's good. It's good feedback. Let's see. A couple other things that came up. We had the reason Mike DeRoy was out in the field doing inspections is because our building inspector, John Hicks, is going to be leaving us here in a week or two.
Always leaving us.
Yeah, so that's also potential another budget savings. And capacity back in the budget. The building is slowing down, has been slowing down for a little bit. Relationship with the county has been really good. So it would be a direct savings, but it would still Mike doing what he does until we get to a point where we get too busy again. Buildings like that, it just cycles. My recommendation would to use those resources, reallocate them, and back into the general fund for police, and then tourism audit. Everyone else has been here once. He's gonna do it. He's gonna be back. They're supposed to be back today, but he couldn't make it today, so he's gonna be back next week to wrap up the audit on tourism. It's the solstice. Today's the solstice.
The longest day of
Longest
the.
day of the year. One of the things I really like about love about St. Helens is that today in the morning, you get up, get on the waterfront and watch, and the sun comes up over Mount St. Helens. And if you do that in November 21st, it comes up right over the middle of Mount Hood. So you can watch that. Watch it every morning. It's supposed to be all the way down. It's just beautiful. And Margaret Trenchard Smith stopped by earlier before the meeting, before you opened up the doors.
Yeah.
And offered her sincere appreciation for their support of the Columbia County Corral, and it was a wonderful time, and they.
Good. That was Friday, and then we had the parade Saturday, so it was good, yeah. That's it?
That's it.
All right, I mentioned we have a little bit of executive session stuff.
Just, yeah, but
Okay, so, Before I adjourn, we will be going into executive session as previously announced under RS 192.6602E. Real property transaction and 8. Consulting with counsel litigation. So with that, we are adjourned.